Okay, I think it's working now. Yeah, it says recording. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Kate. I am from eatrecyclerepeat.com, and I am interviewing Lillian of Lillian's Test Kitchen, where she makes, oh, see, I already forgot your little tagline. You can take
Grain-free,
over.
dairy-free. What?
Why don't you take over? Grain-free,
Okay.
dairy-free.
I make grain-free, dairy-free, cane sugar-free, and soy-free recipes, and I make them for the very first time on camera.
Yeah. And today I'm doing my very first interview on camera, so
Woo!
we'll see how that goes. um, Lillian, I think I discovered your site last November when I started my blog, and I think I just spent an entire night watching all your videos, being like, this is so awesome! And I get really excited every time you have an episode, and I love all the stuff that you've been doing lately, which we will talk about. But the first thing I want to talk about is you do make recipes for the first time on camera, and I think that takes a certain amount of adventure and fearlessness. And so I was wondering where you kind of get that courage to try new things on camera, no less.
It's not really courage. I started doing it that way for two reasons. One, because I would get scared about trying new things. And I would watch these cooking shows.
Mm-hmm.
Not super often, but sometimes. And they didn't seem to make me feel any less intimidated. They knew what they were doing. They made no mistakes. All of their technique was flawless. It went too fast for me to really see it. And usually it was also really boring.
Yeah.
So it just was doing it this way is both the most fun for me on camera and also it's the scariest way to do it.
Yeah.
And it forces me to learn new recipes all the time,
Right.
which is great because there's constantly new things that I'm getting to add into my repertoire, and I'm getting better and better at picking good recipes, and it just so it's really fun that way.
Yeah, well, and I love all of the recipes that you're making, and they're all from really good sources. I know you've been doing Paleo Parents, their cookbook, Eat Like a Dinosaur. You do things from Alana's Pantry, and just all sorts of, I don't know, really fun, delicious things that everyone can eat, which is
Thanks.
really awesome. Um,
Thanks.
so I take it you enjoy experimenting in the kitchen? Because you do tweak the recipes a little bit to fit your needs, right?
Yeah, I tweak them. I tweak them for to fit my needs, and I also tweak them often because I'm like, you know what sounds like would be really good right here. So I do a lot of that.
Yeah. And I think I do the
And
same.
also
Oh,
because I,
sorry.
hmm?
Go ahead, go ahead.
I just that's the most fun way for me to cook,
Yeah.
and I find that often like for me, if I would follow a recipe completely, then it's gonna be good, but it's not gonna be necessarily to my taste.
Yeah.
If I let myself adapt it, and a good strong recipe that has a decent foundation, you can really move within those parameters.
Hmm.
So if you want to add extra cinnamon, you can add some extra cinnamon. Like the
Yeah.
whole thing's not going to fall apart at your feet.
Always add extra cinnamon. Always.
Generally, that's the general rule. So, I mean, I think that food and cooking it should be personal. It should be for you.
Yeah.
The person who wrote the recipe really could not care less what you do to that.
Right.
Like that's it's like a gift that they're putting out there that they're giving to you, and you can use it how you want.
Yeah.
And so I like to do that. And I'm not a recipe creator. Like I feel like that takes a level of knowledge of like chemistry
Hmm.
that I just do not have.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty good at like maneuvering inside and improvising within a recipe.
Right. Yeah, I feel the same way. And I also think the more you experiment and the more you just kind of have to try things out, that's the how you become more comfortable in the kitchen and how you kind of learn to find your own method and find your own
Yeah.
taste. And I love your videos because they're a great example of that. And I also love your videos because sometimes I check some like food allergy sites, or not food allergy sites, but allergy friendly sites, and sometimes they can get really serious. Like, I can't eat eggs, nuts, coconut, and all this stuff. It's like, what am I gonna do? I'm never gonna have another cookie again. And your site is great because it's really hopeful in that way. Of like, you have your great allergy survival series, but also your videos are just really funny, and there's just a lightness about them that I really appreciate. So I was wondering, how do you keep your awesome sense of humor when you have food intolerances or allergies or things that you have to be generally genuinely concerned about, and they may also not be mainstream.
Well, I mean, to be honest, it took me a long time to get to that point where I could feel okay about it. I think a lot of it for me anyway was about self-acceptance
Hmm.
and accepting that I am the kind of person who has food allergies and needs to take special precautions and who needs to be taken special care of by myself and by others.
Yeah.
Before I really fought with that for a while, I didn't want to be that person. And so everything was really serious because I was fighting myself. I was fighting who I actually am.
Hmm.
Um, but once I kind of was like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do in order to be healthy, in order to be happy. It's like, well, screw that. I want to have a really good time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. It's
like like it's not the end of the world. Like this is the thing that I realized. So I at first I started to figure out how to bake for myself and how to make my own food.
hmm
And then all of a sudden I started being able to be generous with my
hmm
food with other people. And then I started having people over.
hmm
And I could or if I had dinner with my parents or my family, I would bring dessert and then we would all eat it together.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this experience that had been so fraught and so lonely for me, it became not only something that was social, but also like a gift that I could give to other people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no reason for to fight it. There's no like it
Right.
doesn't help me
Yeah.
to be angry about it. That doesn't help me at all.
Yeah.
It hinders me. It hinders my progress and it hinders my enjoyment of life. So, like, this is the way it is, and
Right.
sometimes that's really funny, and sometimes it's really hard. But even when it's hard, like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's like, and for me, it comes a lot to being prepared.
hmm
And if I'm prepared when I walk into a situation, either just emotionally or I've brought my food or I know what I'm walking into,
Right.
then I can be loose and I can have a good time with it.
Yeah. I really agree with you on the being prepared thing. That's a good way to just set your mind at ease. It's just, like,
Yeah.
no matter what situation I'm going into, I've got my backups or,
Hmm.
I've got a plan. And also, I think I was kind of the same way. I was always like, I hate being like a burden to people and they have to make special exceptions. But I found that most
Yeah.
people are actually, if they really like to cook, they kind of enjoy the challenge or they like to talk to me
Hmm.
about it. Or we cook something together so I can make sure that, throughout the process, everything is going well and they don't accidentally add something. Like in Japan,
Yeah.
I'm allergic to soy
That's
sauce and wheat, but like, they add soy sauce like water to everything. So it's just like, oh, sorry, can we do something else there?
yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, you can make it a not bad experience. You just
Yeah,
have to take ownership and you have to take agency.
yeah,
And when you are, for a long time, I felt victimized by my food
hmm
allergies. I felt like they were controlling me and controlling me and my experiences in the world with my friends and with everyone else.
yeah,
But it doesn't have to be like that at all.
hmm
I mean, I had dinner with a friend of mine recently, and she wanted to make dinner for me. She wanted to do it. We talked about it. She spent like an extra 30 minutes in the grocery store just reading labels. Like new experience for her, but she really wanted to do it,
yeah,
and I knew she could. So. And then I got to have a dinner party, and she was so excited, and I
yeah,
was of course incredibly grateful, and I was like, this is rare, like not people can't usually cook for me, and
right,
but this is a really big gift, thank you,
yeah. Well,
but like it's so I don't know, it's like all this doom and gloom about it, like it's
it,
not like it's not cancer,
yeah, it
it's
doesn't.
food allergy,
Yeah, that's a
you
really
know.
good point.